If you must know, Seth and I have been separated for a very long time. And during that time, I have seen other people. Have some of those other people been deep sea fishermen who work with large nets? Possibly. There's a lot about me that the people of Utah will never understand.
Hey everybody, it's me, Jill, and welcome to Jill Informed. This is the recap of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Season 1, Episode 13, Chilly Reception. Okay, this is the oversized season finale. Did not know it was going to be oversized when I started, but this episode was an hour and a half long, so let's just get right into it. It starts with a flashback of the entire season, and something occurred to me. I actually might like Whitney's husband, Justin, the best of all the husbands. And I think I know why. Because he was on the least. You know how I feel about husbands. They are usually best seen and not heard, but I do think I like Lisa's husband, John. But even he, I can only take in small doses. So Justin it is. If a husband is like too busy with his own life to film or has no desire to be on camera, that's usually a good sign in my book. Although not always, because, Tom Girardi. Anyway, the episode begins with Whitney on the floor meditating, and she's got like this inner dialogue going on where she's replaying all the horrors of their time in Vegas, the screaming and yelling, and then we're with Heather, and the same thing is happening. It's a very interesting way of filming this. We're kind of doing it with all the ladies, one by one, where they're replaying the events of the weekend, but like in their head. So we join Heather as she arrives at the newest location for her beauty lab business. This is where she's having her big grand opening party. And, there's a lot of bustling around going on inside as they try to finish everything and get it decorated and ready for the party. There's like wings and clouds and everything's like soft pinks and whites. And Heather has these pink velvet stanchion ropes, and she's talking to one of her friends, and he said something like, well, yeah, I just have to put the stanchions out in front. And she's like, the what? And he said, the stanchions. And she's like, what's a stanchion? Now, this is the point where I feel like I need to mention that I also never heard the word stanchion. I mean, obviously, I know what those velvet ropes are. I've seen them at movie theaters and various places, but never knew they were called stanchions. I guess the stand itself is called a stanchion. I don't know. So Heather's like, I never heard of that word before. I wouldn't have even mentioned that, except that now Whitney shows up to see how things are going. And she said, everything looks so great. Oh, look at the pink velvet stanchion ropes. And Heather goes, wait, what? You know what a stanchion is too? And she's like, yeah, like at airports. We know what the thing is, we just didn't know they were called that. Anybody else out there didn't know it was called a stanchion? No? Just me and Heather? Okay. Heather and Whitney are, of course, talking about Las Vegas, and neither of them has spoken to Jen since the trip. Heather said, no, I feel like she owes me an apology. So next, we are at a restaurant bar, with Lisa, and she is waiting on Jen. Jen shows up, and they start to have a conversation. Jen thanks her for reaching out to her because Lisa is the only one that has spoken to her since Las Vegas. And Lisa said,
Well, my heart was broken.
Then Lisa tells us in her confessional what happened.
I was checking out of the hotel in Las Vegas, and the elevator doors open, and there's Jen Shah. Clearly, she was crying. She had no makeup on, although she did have a really cute Gucci tracksuit, but she looked a wreck. So I suggested that we meet up to talk once we get back to Utah, just to hear Jen's side of the story.
So Jen's side of the story is that basically she just points to her upbringing and her culture and basically just what it was like being raised in Utah around a bunch of white people. She said she learned to always be prepared for a fight. Hence the "I will drown you in the lake behind your house" comment. Poor Whitney. Jen recognizes that she needs to work on her going from 0 to 100 at the drop of a hat. And Lisa points out that doing that gives people more of a reason to judge you. And Jen agrees. But she says she's hurt by Heather. I guess, not having her back this time. And also, her takeaway from the making comments about Meredith's marriage is not that she shouldn't have made those comments, but that next time she needs to be more careful about who she says them to. Because clearly some people, Whitney, take it out of context and twist things around. So yeah, I shouldn't talk about people's marriages behind their back, but next time, whoever I'm gossiping to, I need to vet them better. Of course. Okay, now we are at Meredith's house, and she and Seth are having a conversation. Meredith has cut up a banana for him and put it in a bowl, and that made Seth say, "Oh, wow, I love this new Meredith." Yikes. What was the old Meredith like? She starts to tell him about Vegas and how, things went off the rails. And he is trying to say the word toxicity, but he says toxicity. But Meredith is, she's just upset that she even had to explain herself to these women. She says, "Speculation about our marriage, is that any of your business?" Okay. Seth's reply is, "I would just tell them our relationship was up and we're working our asses off to try and save it. That's all they need to know." Okay. Jesus. That's more than I want to know. Anyway, Meredith just thinks that the others are deflecting so that they don't have to look at their own relationships. In the next scene, Whitney drives up to the Forum Academy, goes inside, and there's Dad at the shampoo bowl. Yeah, it's a beauty school, and her dad is auditioning to become an instructor there. And so he's going to demonstrate on Whitney's hair. He's going to give her a trim. I mean, he does fine. Clearly, that I went to beauty school, so I can always tell when somebody is acting like they're cutting someone's hair or when somebody really knows how to cut hair. He clearly does. And I don't know. I guess the audition was fine. Whitney says she's proud of him and that he finished his program. But I don't know. It still seems like that went fast. Next, we have Meredith arriving at the old beauty lab in Laser, and she and Heather are now having a discussion about Vegas and Jen. And Meredith is like, "Well, of course I have compassion for her because obviously something's going on in her life. Did you invite her to your opening?" And Heather said, yes, she was already invited, but I feel like to move forward, for me, I need a clear apology from her. Just for the way she diminished our relationship and for the way she behaved in Vegas. I could tell by the look on Meredith's face she did not think that Heather was going to get that. I don't even think Heather thought she was going to get that. But she said, I keep thinking to myself, if this were one of my daughters and a friend of hers, would I tell her to just, give your friend a second chance and she's probably going through something? Or would I say, no, you're a very good friend to her. If she doesn't recognize that, then move on without her. So Heather, here's the thing. Heather has had this issue from day one. First, it was with Lisa, right? Lisa pretending she didn't remember her from college. And I feel like there is a chip on Heather's shoulder. And I like Heather. In fact, Heather's probably the one person I really like on this franchise. But she's got issues. In fact, she said with Jen, I'm not going to do what I did with my marriage, which is just to put up and shut up. So there's a long history for Heather, I think, of maybe being in relationships where she gets taken advantage of, maybe a little bit too one-sided, maybe a little bit more giving on her part than receiving. But even further than that, there has to be some insecurity that she's getting from somewhere. So I don't know. But it has been very triggering for Heather this entire season. Now we are with Lisa and some girl, Sydney. I don't know what she is, a branding agent or marketing person for the Fresh Wolf line that Lisa pretends is her son's. But other than the 15-year-old looking like he's been totally coerced into it and the 9-year-old not caring about it at all, it's really Lisa's business. But it's that line of men's products, I guess. I thought it was just for boys, and I thought it was kind of interesting and unique to have a line of whatever it was, skincare, shampoo, body washes, things like that, for boys and for teenagers. I thought that was maybe an interesting angle, but then when she and her husband make her older son pitch to that Sydney, he talks about ingredients for hair loss. So I guess it's just for men, not necessarily young boys. Side note, when John and the boys get there, John has a gallon of Diet Coke for everyone there, including Sydney, who I'm sure didn't even take a sip of it. Okay, now we are at the Faith Temple. That is Mary's church. And, you guys, Bravo shows us a close-up of this painting on the wall. It is of Mary's grandmother and Jesus holding hands in heaven. Oh, boy. Anyway, Mary walks in with her son. The choir and band were rehearsing. And she's like, where's the love? Come on. And then they all cheer for her. It is super weird and creepy. And then she says to this guy, the guitar player, why did you gain weight? I'm sorry, this guy did not look overweight at all. But she says, why did you gain weight? And he goes, I don't know. And she goes, well, don't do that. Take care of yourself. Eat right. Drink water. She is so mean. Do you guys remember when in her confessional, she said that if Jen's aunt had maybe drank more water and ate better, that she wouldn't have lost her legs? Oh, God. She's a woman of God. She's also the choir director. So she's they're singing, and she's like, no, you're too far behind. Did you even practice this? Did you think you didn't need to practice? Oh, God, she's horrible and a little scary. In the way that when you can see in someone's eyes that they're crazy, it's frightening. Yeah, Mary's got that going on. The next scene is with Jen and Sharif, and Sharif has surprised Jen with salsa dancing lessons. I guess it's something Jen has been trying to get him to do for years, and he finally agreed to it because, he's trying to be better now, because he's not around very often. So I think when he is around, he's making more of an effort. So she seemed very happy about that. They did a little salsa dancing. They're both very good dancers. I don't think they needed a lesson, but whatever. So after that, he had set up a little table with wine and some chocolate-covered strawberries, a little romantic table, and they were feeding each other the strawberries. It was cute. She told him about all the women not understanding her, and she was upset about that. And, for Sharif's part, They've been married for 24 years or together for 24 years. So he knows her well. And he said, I know your heart and I know you don't ever mean to hurt somebody and you're not a bad person. I don't ever want you to think you're a bad person. And so in Jen's confessional, she said, I wish my friends would understand that the way Sharif does. Well, I mean, listen, Sharif is your husband. He should love you unconditionally. And he accepts certain things. I don't think you can expect your friends to have to tolerate you. You know, I think you need to do better with your friends. Now we see a little montage of everyone getting ready for Heather's grand opening. At Meredith's house, she comes out in this like blazer and pants. I think it's leather and like a lot of blingy stuff. And Brooks is like, that's incredible. And Meredith is like, I could also just wear it as a blazer dress. So she takes the pants off, and Brooks is mortified. Mom, did you seriously do that in front of the cameras? I do like that he breaks the fourth wall, though. And she said, oh, what's the big deal? Nobody saw anything. I wouldn't be so sure about that. Brooks claims to be scarred by seeing Jen's hoo-ha, so I don't know. He may have x-ray vision. Next, it is the evening of the party, and Heather arrives. She's walking into her new place, and she goes, oh, pretty stanchions, which I thought was a cute little callback, because she and I just learned that word. Everything is gorgeous. Everything is pink. Pink clouds, pink cotton candy, pink drinks, pink macarons. Heather is dressed in pink. I wonder what Lisa Vanderpump would say about that. Oh, I don't know if you know this or not, but that's my color, darling. So people are starting to arrive. Heather's daughters and her ex-husband Billy show up. See, Heather has an issue. I feel like she wants Billy's approval still. And I don't know why. I don't know why she cares what he thinks. I don't even know why she invited him. Yeah, I mean, he's like, it's great. It's cool. Yeah, I'm proud of you. Everything's great. So I don't know if she got what she wanted, but I just personally, I wish she didn't. It's okay to invite him, I guess, if they're cordial with each other or whatever. But I guess I just wish she didn't seem to require his approval, you know? Okay, now Mary is the first of the housewives to arrive, and Heather is like, oh, do you want a drink? Do you want a snack? And all the little napkins say different things like thirsty AF, messy AF. And she's like, oh, whatever one you want. And Mary goes, what does AF stand for? And Heather just kind of looks at her, and Mary said, after the fact. And Heather's like, yeah. That's what it means. Meredith is the next housewife to arrive, and she has decided to forego the pants. She is just wearing the blazer dress and a beaded face mask. In her confessional, she said, this is high fashion. People in Utah just don't understand. In Whitney's confessional, she has two of the blue surgical masks on, one over her nose and mouth, one over her eyes. She goes, this is high fashion. You wouldn't understand. So after all the other housewives get there, except Jen, Lisa and Meredith are talking. Lisa asks her, how do you feel after Vegas? And Meredith said, well, okay. I'm kind of settled with it. And Lisa's like, yeah, me too. So after Vegas, I was like, Jen, we should meet up when we get back to Utah. Meredith looks at her like, what? Meredith is confused as to why Lisa would reach out to Jen after Jen came after Meredith's family because Lisa has been a friend of hers for over 10 years. Lisa has always cared about Meredith and her family, and this just doesn't make any sense to her why she would talk to Jen, because that's not something a friend does. To Lisa's face, she says, I thought you were done with Jen. And we get a flashback, and yeah, Lisa was the one that said,
so do you still want to be friends with her? Because I don't think I do. I don't want to.
And that's when Heather said, yeah, I do. I give people a second chance. I don't think she's a bad person. Anyway, Lisa can tell that Meredith is getting mad, so she's like,
I mean, I'm not committed to anything. I'm still processing. I don't love it.
Meredith goes,
that's fine. I will never dictate to somebody who they can and cannot be friends with. That's not who I am.
But that's who Jen is? Is that what you're saying? Side note, Whitney is now walking around with oxygen tubes in her nose and has just lost the right to make fun of Meredith's face mask. I guess it's something the beauty lab has. Now Whitney is getting Mary to put the oxygen tubes in her nose. I guess it's infused with, I don't know, different scents and things. I don't know if it's a treatment that Beauty Lab has regularly, but it's something they have here at the party. Anyway, Whitney is telling Mary about Vegas, what she missed, and basically Whitney is just telling Mary, you were right about everything, because once you weren't around, then Jen just picked me to go after. Blink, blink. Now the music kind of like stops and changes tone, and it's Jen Shah walking into the party now. Heather sees her, but in her confessional, she said, I don't know if Jen is here to support me or to sabotage me. And that's just what it's like being friends with Jen Shah. Well, I don't think it's either of those, Heather. I think it's option 3. Bravo made her come. It's the season finale and everybody has to be there. Do you think Mary came of her own free will?
No.
Whitney is actually the first one to approach Jen. None of the other ladies have gone up to her yet. Jen is like, I appreciate you coming to talk to me. But Whitney's not there to make up or anything. Whitney just says, I think we needed to talk because I don't want toxic people in my life. And Jen's like, okay. In Jen's confessional, she tells us, I'm going to Michelle Obama my way through this evening. When they go low, I'll go high. So now she is fake apologizing to Whitney just to get through it. To us in the confessional, she said, there's some cookies over there that I want to get to, so yeah, whatever you want to hear. I'm sorry. I apologize. She's like, I don't even know why I would be apologizing to Whitney, but so yeah. Next, Heather gives a speech thanking everyone for coming, blah, blah, blah. Then we see Meredith bending some guy's ear. I don't know who he is, but he's just standing there, and Meredith is going on and on about bad energy in her life and not wanting that. And then Jen walks up behind her and stands next to her because she wants to talk. And that guy couldn't get out of there fast enough. He immediately says, okay, well, I'm going to take off. I got to go talk to just something over there. So nice seeing you guys. Okay, now either Jen Shah is the best actress ever, or she is really and truly sincerely apologizing to Meredith, which she should. She mentions hurting her family, and she said, I shouldn't have done that. That was wrong of me. I never meant to hurt you. But Meredith, she's not accepting that so easily. She tells us in her confessional, Jen crossed a line. Will our relationship ever be the same? Not now. Maybe not ever. Then she tells Jen that she needs to show her through her actions that she is sorry and that she has changed over a long period of time for Meredith to believe her apology and forgive her. Geesh. I mean, is it even worth it, Jen? Now Heather walks up And Meredith decides to take off. And now it's just Jen and Heather. And Heather, well, this is actually funny. First, Heather wants to know what Jen thinks of everything, the party and the new place. And Jen's like, I think it's great. I'm really proud of you. Then she tells her she's pissed about what happened in Vegas. And she said, that hypnotist said, is there anybody here who doesn't trust Heather? You raised your hand. So Heather, she's not exactly raising her voice, especially with the din of the party. I didn't think it was that loud, but she's animated and she's angry, and Jen's really not getting a word in. She's just kind of coming at her and sort of vomiting all these feelings that I think she's been having for a long time. Meredith, Lisa, and Whitney are standing in the distance, and they're like all uncomfortable and awkward. Should I go over there or not? And Lisa says,
I've never had to call security at an event on myself or the hostess of the party, but this might be the first.
Really? I mean, she's not throwing things. She didn't break a glass. She's getting, I guess, a little bit loud, but I didn't even think she was being that loud. Anyway, Heather is telling Jen that she doesn't want to move forward with their friendship until Jen admits that the relationship has been kind of one-sided and that she has taken Heather for granted, but she will, from now on, be a good friend. And Jen is crying, and she's like, I feel like I have been. It doesn't matter what I say. And Heather said, no, it does matter. Just admit it. You haven't been there for me. Mary's in the background pulling faces as usual. She's loving this, though. So the others have come up now. Not Mary, but Whitney, Lisa, and Meredith have now come up to Jen and Heather. And, Whitney's trying to speak for Heather. Lisa's trying to speak for Jen. Whitney's like, Heather needs to know that you're sorry when you screw up and say things. And Lisa's like,
but Jen needs to know when she did something wrong. She needs to be told because she doesn't know.
And then Jen's like, I don't know. She knows she needs to do better and make some changes. But she also said it needs to be pointed out to me when I've done something wrong or hurt your feelings because I don't know I'm doing it because it's not intentional. So it kind of ends with, they're going to be friends. Heather and Jen, they're going to be friends. They're going to be fine. It ends with them sharing a lip gloss. Ew. And they're okay. They hug it out. And then this very weird circus music starts playing during the final wrap-ups for each of the ladies. We start with Jen's. Jen and Sharif have been spending more time together, ... on Facebook. To manage her stress, Jen has hired another member to the Shaw Squad, assistant number 8. Jeez. Next is Whitney. After supporting her dad for so long, Whitney is focusing on herself, working on a new skincare line, and only swings from her stripper pole. I'm not a swinger. Next is Mary. And tell me what you guys think of this one. Mary has been keeping busy reorganizing her bedroom/closet, getting rid of old designer clothes while making sure to keep her skeletons safe inside. I know there's been a lot of articles out there and a lot of stories about her family, the church, and all that stuff being not so above board. But, is Bravo just kind of coming right out and saying it by implying that she has skeletons in her closet? Or is it just a play on words? I don't know. I don't know about that one. Now we have Lisa. Lisa has scheduled a family bonding trip to Mexico. But as Warren Buffett says, if a new business opportunity arises, she will not say no. I keep thinking about when her husband said, I feel like we're not spending enough time with the boys. And Lisa goes,
oh, so you think we should involve the boys in the business more?
Now it's Meredith's. In an effort to work on their communication, Meredith and Seth have returned to couples therapy. They're doing great, but when the topic of moving to Canton, Ohio arises, Meredith disengages. And finally, Heather. Heather has embraced her new life as a non-practicing Mormon, but continues to search for the perfect man, ... and the perfect meat lollipop. And that is a wrap on season 1. There is going to be a 3-part reunion. I don't know. I said this before. I loved that Orange County only had 2 parts to their reunion because I thought it was perfect and there wasn't all this fluff like filler to stretch it out to 3 episodes. And I was kind of hoping that Salt Lake City would do the same. However, the previews they're showing do look good. They do. So I don't know if it's like 3 episodes good, but I guess we'll find out because I will be recapping them. As always, thanks for hanging out with me here. If you liked what you saw, please subscribe to my channel. If you liked this particular episode, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to leave a comment. I love to hear from you guys. I will see you next week for the reunions. Please wear a mask and wash your hands. Stay safe. I love you guys.